Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Real Moms of Real Estate. What do we have going on today?
I think
All the moms are tired.
Yeah, all the moms are tired.
I have had a morning.
yeah. I think we're all kind of rolling back in from like the 4th of July weekend, so we're all kind of sleepy, I would say.
And
Vacations, trying to get back into the swing of things, and
in need of support,
yes,
which I think is what we're talking about today.
for
Women
real.
supporting women, support within the industry, outside the industry. Do you guys feel like you have support from other either moms, agents? Like, what's your experience been like with that?
I think it can be just like any atmosphere with women, specifically, just like hit or miss. I think you're going to find like the women that you click with, you connect with, and then you're going to find the ones that you can tolerate, but they're probably never going to be like your best friend. But overall, I think it's important to always support each other. We are in a woman-dominated industry, so we should work together and help each other out, I think.
Yeah, what is it? 57% of the industry is female.
Male, yeah.
Yeah.
Something crazy like
I
that.
knew that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if
Not
you
surprising.
think about it, it doesn't surprise me when I
Well,
think of co-op.
historically, it's one of the few industries that women had equal footing on because you're completely your own business owner. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
opposed to a more traditional corporate route where there may have been more of a glass ceiling imposed back in the day. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I think
so
that's true.
it's interesting.
makes sense.
Yeah. What does Siri have to say today?
She's got a lot to say about it as well.
That's funny. Yeah. That is
Yeah, and I
funny.
think real estate, it's also interesting too, because in a way, I mean, we're not competitors, but we are in this,
Yeah.
in a sense as well. So, but yeah, I think it's just finding your people that genuinely support you and want to see you grow. And unfortunately, not everyone is like that. So
I think I've definitely had both experiences. Like I have, my biggest eye roll is like the kind of influencer, like all in a day's work. You see like, the morning routine it rolls into like, a swim lesson, music lesson combined. So,
Child playing
and then,
violin while they're doing the
appointments,
backstroke.
and then somehow they top it off with a date night. And it's like this very like, put together, all the kids are dressed immaculately.
Idealized.
Yeah, kind of thing. And it's like, I just don't, maybe like one day a week I get that done where everything kind of goes smoothly and, I look the way I wanted to look and they look the way I wanted them to look and everyone's listening and we get through it. But I just think there's a lot of that definitely in this industry too. And maybe that's because you have people who are trying to present to a certain audience that, ideal clients and things like that. But that's one of my big like pet peeves is like, you're not doing it all, right? Like every day.
That's so interesting. Like, it is weird to think about the industry. Like, there are not a lot of other professional outlets that have such a heavy reliance on what for everyone else is a traditional social media outlet. So there's all that blending. So, I mean, you really do kind of get hit. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much digital messaging out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much of this is that person versus how much of this is the business image that person is looking to curate. And it's, I put myself in that too. It's like,
I think that's a super easy rabbit hole to fall into with other people and also with yourself. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have ever had it where you look at your own like Instagram sometimes or your own Facebook and you're just like, if only people knew the shit show that was my life. Like, this is not it. Like, this is not an accurate representation.
Well, and that's a hard decision too. Like, do I have separate business accounts and then my personal account? And do I keep that all separate or do I kind of like lay it on top of each other and say, this is who I am across the board? Like good, bad, ugly, take it or leave it.
what do you guys do? How are you set up right now?
I honestly don't post enough about business. Like I know agents post like just sold, pending, like I need to get better about that because I do think it would be beneficial in some ways, but I don't ever, for me, it's a hard struggle because I don't want to come across as like a car salesman or very cold or that's all I do. Like I picture myself in a much larger facet than just real estate or I'm just a mom or, I don't like to, so it's hard for me to get past that. I need to just lay it all out there, the good, bad, and the ugly and just post, but I don't really post a lot of business, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have a personal account and then also a business account because I have a business partner. So, and we'll post like, I don't post any business on my personal social media accounts. I should. I think my last post was from February on my personal account, but the business stuff is like much more active and just like a touch of personal, but not geared so much towards like just listed. I mean, we post that stuff just sold, but in the context of like the client story and
Right.
not us as like
In your face.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
thematically, you have your client's lead,
Yeah,
kind of
like
be the star of the messaging
yeah,
or
like
whatever.
the client is the hero of the story. It's not us.
It's a good way to put it, though.
I love that.
So, but I do need to be better about my personal. So,
Yeah.
Same.
I like tried to do like 2 complete separate accounts, but I can barely find matching socks in the morning, so I just kind of meshed it all into like my personal, and I don't know, I feel like it's worked pretty well for me. Like, not that I'm against this, but like I haven't had to outsource for leads yet. Most of them have come from either social media or just like my sphere. But I will say I had like a comment made. I did let it bother me, but like someone was like, I feel like you're only saying stuff because like you want people to like think about your business, like happy birthday or whatever. It was another agent. She was like, does that work for you? And I was like, I don't really think that that's fair to say. I do genuinely enjoy like connecting with my sphere. Does
Yeah.
it work for me in business? Yes, but I don't necessarily go say happy birthday to all the birthdays on the list. Like,
Not the automated 4th of July email.
Right.
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 Yeah.
Right. Got a lot of
Right.
those
Send.
last week.
I
Yeah.
got some of those too. I was like,
Never heard from you. Yeah.
But I'm on your 4th of July list.
I do struggle with like not wanting to come across as like disingenuous and then also kind of cart before the horse. Like I overthink, does everything have to be consistent and branded and cohesive and go together? Or can I just like throw something out while I'm thinking about it? And then more natural thing is probably the latter. But I mean, I think when you're trying to structure your business and when you want people to see your content and think of you as an agent and their go-to agent, you want to look put together and you want it to be intentional. So sometimes I just don't put anything out because I'm overthinking it, and that's definitely the wrong.
That's how I feel like that's exactly how I am. That's a great way of putting it. It's like if it's not perfect and it doesn't look pretty, then it's just not worth it. And then I forget about it. And
Yeah.
that's like called something paralysis.
Analysis paralysis.
Analysis.
Yeah, but then I post
Yeah.
a picture of my 3-year-old, with his swim trunks down, peeing into the ocean. It's like,
Well, that's all good.
not thinking about all my content.
that's sometimes content
stories. It
that's
goes
needed.
away.
Yeah, that's
Just
needed
cute.
content. That's all.
Yeah, that was the highlight of the vacation. By the way, he learned how to pee like in open air, and it's a new favorite.
Look out, national parks.
Yeah.
Campers coming. Mhm. That's very funny.
That's hilarious.
But do you feel like social media for you, Kylie, has been like you're receiving a lot more support than negativity?
Yeah. So I had never even honestly thought of, I guess that could be naiveness, but like I had never even thought of like people thinking like, oh, she's only doing these things for business, because it's just something that like I don't know, I like to like reach out and like let people know I'm thinking about them. But as far as like the support goes, I feel like when people do see like the personal side of it, and then you throw in like a sold, but also how Katie, like in that sold post, I'm making it like, oh my goodness, my amazing first time home buyers, like we worked so hard and blah, blah, blah. And that has done, I think people seeing that side of things, they're like, oh wow, they can do it. Like I can do it too. And that has worked for me so far. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for like the amount of like eye roll things that I see, there's like an equal and opposite. Like I can think of a really good agent friend that I have who's at a different brokerage where we have a similar business model. So like if I can think of someone that would kind of be a competitor, she comes to mind. But she's also like one of my biggest hype girls. Everything I post, she's, like pumping me up, asking me about the project. We've shared contractors with each other, even pushed business, So I think there's a lot of that too, where you see someone doing something well and you respect them or admire them, and you make a friend and support each other, even if they are, going for the same listings and have a similar business model. So there's an equal and opposite, I think, at least in my experience.
Yeah, it is out there. I mean, it is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
And I was speaking with an agent yesterday, and the majority of her new business comes from folks that recognize her, as being a friend of another friend of a friend kind of thing on her Facebook. And she's a very effective job with it. But she's very purposeful. She's very specific. She also, while she's a very dynamic agent, there's not a lot of ego in that. She just kind of nailed it. You know what I mean? It's you don't come off of it being like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
really? It's like, oh, that's pretty awesome. So there's a lot to it. There definitely is an art. Definitely is an art. I have not figured
I've
out.
seen some that I'm like, not great taste. Like, in my opinion, like, oh, I probably wouldn't have posted that. Like, people being like, yeah, I closed this much in volume this month and
Sure.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get it. I get it. Be proud. That is something to be so proud of. But the consumers, like, looking in, they don't care how much money you're making off of them. They want to be able to work with someone that they, like, enjoy their presence.
Or like relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting though. It depends on the client.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
I have a friend. I helped them buy and sell a house, and it was just one of those things where it overlapped with a pregnancy, and I don't know what their decision making was. Like they got into a bad situation and ended up working with a different agent, kind of on the fly. And she's like, "Well, she was a vice president at EXP," and I'm
Right.
like, I could put president of the world on my
Grant
business
Claw
card.
at
don't say anything,
And that is a funny thing with agents, because you don't have that traditional structure, you can kind of call yourself whatever you want. Like
You can be number one at anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I can guarantee you she's not on the executive suite at EXP.
Right.
Right.
She's not. So it's an interesting thing. The perception is kind of what people pick up.
Yeah.
It's like maybe if you put it out there, someone's going to believe that you're, whatever you're
Titled.
saying you are.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. It really is. What kind of comments have you guys had from consumers, like on social media content? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what is the feedback that you get? Like, any comments, or is it just how they come to you, or?
I feel like when I actually post like a just sold, or like I should probably just do like a monthly, like here's what we sold this month. I feel like I actually do get a lot of support from my SOI.
Yeah.
So it's more mental for me than anything. I know I am the problem, and that's okay. But I think actually,
Lucy.
yes, I do have many problems. That's just one. But I think I get tons of support. So I really haven't seen a lot of negativity around it, because I don't think 99% of my like friends or family truly understand what we do on a day to
Yeah.
day. So I think like when I give them like a little glimpse of my life, they're like, oh, wow, that's great. Like they just don't, again, probably my problem. I don't divulge that much, but I actually do receive a lot of support.
It's interesting, when you see like on like HGTV, that's that little snapshot, I think is what so many people believe actually happens in the industry. It's like, okay, she got done playing tennis and like, jumped in her Mercedes, showed 3 houses and made $55,000. It's like, I'm in, sign me up. It's interesting, like how I would just wonder about that. You know what I mean? 'Cause like we see so many people that get in, they're like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought. And I wonder what we should be doing ourselves. You know what I mean? Like on individual, like to
Be more transparent.
yeah, without being like, then there's that balancing side of, like you'll see on so many email signatures, like, I'm never too busy for your referrals. Because it's like, you don't want people to think you're sitting at home eating bonbons.
Right.
But yet you also don't want people to feel that you're so overly taxed that you can't take good care of them. So I do think like kind of purposeful, specific messaging is important. I know I haven't done it, but I think that's probably a missed opportunity to kind of strike
Absolutely. And that's what Kate was
Strike
talking
that
about, like
balance.
how, the kids are at the swim lessons and musical lessons at the same time. They're very talented. And the mom is writing the contract at the pool.
Yeah.
And then, she
with
made
no
it-
glare on her screen.
No.
Yeah,
Of
glass
course.
of wine.
Yeah,
writing
exactly.
a contract.
Exactly.
Poolside.
Hashtag.
Dinner's
Yeah.
already in the oven. Yeah, dinner's already in the oven. There's a pie on the way. Like, that's just not realistic. And, I mean, maybe it is for some people. And if you've got it figured out, like, just, let me know. Because
I need some cliff notes on that.
Yeah.
There's a delicate balance of being like showing that versus like you're upstairs, the kids are all screaming, running down. You're trying to write a contract. It's
Yeah.
like, how much of that do
Right.
you share with your, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's a delicate balance.
and how do you share your, like, chaos?
Yeah. How do you
I
share
mean-
to where someone's still like, they're responsible.
Yeah, she's got this.
relatable.
I
Yeah.
should hire them.
She's got this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
My hair's been on fire for the past 12 hours. Like, my husband has consultants in town this week, and he's in office every
Yeah.
day. Didn't leave the office till like 7 last night. And there's only a few days a month that are
Yeah.
like that. But when it happens and you're flying solo and you've got like the three-nager that's just like melting and trying to get out the door, like I'm in my workout clothes because I had a 9:30 workout planned, and we just could not get out the door. And I'm looking at the clock, and I'm getting more flustered and upset.
Yeah.
'Cause I know that if I miss that, that sets the
That it's
tone
not
for
gonna
my whole
happen.
day. And so it started that way. And I'm like, should I just set up like a camera in the corner of my house?
Yeah.
And, like for my own like humor,
Yeah.
Because we went through the whole gamut of like, like positive parenting turns to yelling, turns to like, like hugging and breathing together.
Deep breaths.
Yeah.
10 breaths.
I love my child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's funny. My oldest daughter is home for a very short amount of time this summer, and she's low maintenance. I mean, the kid's 21, like, you know what I mean? Totally low maintenance. But it's like I got in last night, and yesterday was just I missed a 9 o'clock appointment, then I was late like the dominoes. It was just bad planning day. And I got home, and I walk in the door. She's like, I need your help with this insurance thing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill you. You know what I mean? And I felt so badly because she's home like 3 days a year. And I'm like, I just want a minute. And I'm like, okay, got to get it together. And I just felt terrible. But it's because it doesn't matter how old they are. It's like, oh my God, can I just.
Well, one little thing just
1
makes
minute.
the house of cards kind of
Yeah,
just
that's
fall
exactly
a little bit.
how it felt.
Yeah.
And I felt terrible because I'm like, I don't mean to be so shitty. I just need a minute. She's like, Mom, I'm never home. I'm like, I know, you're making it worse. But it's just,
It's definitely
Just
like
goes like that
a
sometimes.
bandwidth thing, right? And some
yeah, the
days
bandwidth
are-
was not there.
I am overstimulated. Yes.
Yeah, it's exactly how I felt.
Yes.
but it's
Stimulated Moms Club.
right.
Constant.
It's great to have those people that do get it. Like I have an agent friend whose wife, like they live in the neighborhood, and sometimes I think she just picks up on it, or maybe she'll hear through him, a story from the office or whatever. And so she'll say, we have kids similar ages, and she'll say, if you just want to drop them off for a couple of hours and like catch up, and I'm like, God, I needed that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like even
amazing.
if I don't take it, I need
Yeah.
someone to ask.
Yeah, for real.
So I feel like those are the things that I try to think about. How can I do better for other
Right.
people? Like when we have an agent at the office that has a baby, like we should have a meal train go
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
like the things that really help
Right,
in those times, like trying to remind yourself to pay it forward
right. Yeah,
because it can get crazy really quick. So the people who do get it are like your lifesavers.
Absolutely.
And I feel like the people who, even if, like, for example, you were having a bad day, if that was me, I'm a part of these, I have two kind of separate friend groups. How this happened, husband side, and then my, original friend group. And yeah, I mean, it's just, they're both great, excellent friends, but it's kind of nice because there's different moms in each group. So for, I'm having, a meltdown day, I'll be like, what did you guys do? And I've gotten 10 different responses from each 10 different moms, and they've all been through it, but they've all handled it differently and then got different results. And so it's just nice to it's like, okay, this isn't just happening to me.
And there's not only
it's
one
happened
way
to
to
them.
do it.
They've done it different ways. All their kids are fine, healthy. You know what I mean?
Everybody's breathing.
I'm not going to screw this kid up that bad. So it is nice to have just some additional support from just to ping pong ideas off of, or just to vent, really.
I do feel like we are coming into a pretty strong era of women empowering other women. I've seen more of it more of that being a big source of topic lately, and I'm here for it because every industry, but this industry specifically is hard enough. You have enough trying to tear you down. You don't need your co-ops or your agents in your office sitting there being cliquey or being gossipy and just making the atmosphere as a whole feel even worse. So I am super thankful that we do have a good community at our office specifically, and I feel like there's people you can always like reach out to, whether they're moms or not moms.
Yeah.
Like, we have a good community going on.
Yeah, I feel like our office has done a great job of creating that culture of inclusion and support and
Bring
I
your
felt-
kids and
Yeah, bring your
Yeah.
kids to the office. Like, and I feel like probably not every company is that way. Well, I know that,
Yeah.
it's not the same across the board.
Yeah.
So,
It's like I forget. It's like, you can't see your own water after a while. It's like, but yeah, it was pretty laid back kind of.
And we have like family events where, we could bring the kids and stuff like that. So that's super helpful.
But it's a good reminder that, not everybody is to be helpful when you can. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know sometimes I'm like, oh, I could probably be a little more helpful here, and it's a good reminder because you do need support and it's hard to ask for, I think.
I hate asking for help. I like don't know why. I don't feel like any of us should, but it's a
I think
weird
that's a real thing.
thing.
But there's like this narrative that you should have it all, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
somewhere that's been kind of implanted that like if you don't have it together, then that's like a flaw,
Right.
Or a mom fail or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's just the reality. You can't have it all.
Well, and then also with social media, everybody's presenting this forward-facing, very positive
Highlight reel.
highlight reel, but behind closed doors, no one really knows what's happening. So you have to do like an additional like handout of, hey, let me help you. How are you
Right.
doing? Like a personal connection with your friends, not just,
Yeah.
let's go get like just one-on-one conversation.
Right.
How are you actually doing? Like you just had a baby. How are
Exactly.
it's okay to be upset. It's okay to, feel all the things. Just have that initial connection because sometimes I think that could get a little lost in translation.
I think you're right. And I think I think it's not even just at that time, but it's like, there's so many studies about how even as connected as we are right now as a society, that like loneliness has skyrocketed. And, you look at, like I think about one of the school districts here in town, I think they had like, it was multiple suicides of
Oh, Anderson.
teenagers in a very short amount of time. And it's like, being mindful that maybe, maybe you can help. You know what I mean?
The sense of community is important,
Yeah,
right? Like
for
having
sure.
a fallback and somewhere to go.
in a real conversation, like you were saying, Luce.
And just, like kind of checking in on your friends that don't like to ask for help, but you can. I mean, everyone knows their best friends, and they kind of see them like on the outside, like, okay, we know we've got together, but she'd like to just go out for 2 hours
Right.
and we can watch her kids.
Yeah,
that's
and
going to
not
make
have to ask
everything
for that.
different for her, but it's really no sweat off my back kind of thing. So making those intentional, supportive gifts is not the right word, but
It kind of is a gift.
yeah.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because no one's really going to care that you ask them how they're doing, like, once a week. But they're going to remember it if they needed it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
I also feel like just like having a sense of humor about it all, like laughing at yourself when you do have those like huge fails or like fall on your face. Like this morning, I was a disaster. Like all the things that I try not to do in my day to day or that I can usually like rope in, like I was just, flying off the handle, like wouldn't put any shoes on because you wanted to wear those shoes. And then, and then I threw the shoes and just like stormed out of the room. And it's like, you have to be able to laugh at yourself, sort of. It's like that thing where like someone gets hurt and like you can't help but laugh, like on a video or something. It's like that. Like, I don't know.
Punk videos.
I know.
Yeah. I feel like maybe if we shared more of that side, it would be less judgment and more kind of just like collective comedic.
Yeah.
Right.
Relief.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
It is easy
Yeah.
to feel completely alone when all you're seeing is everybody else have it together, and you're like, I don't have it together. Like, what are y'all doing? Because I don't know. I guess it weirdly does make you feel better that other people. That sounds
Yeah.
very bad to
That
say,
other
but
people are struggling too?
Yeah, other people are
Yeah.
having.
Oh,
The
we're
same
all struggling.
thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
All on the struggle
human
bus.
side.
Yeah.
We were in the car this week driving down to North Carolina, and I had my 2 daughters and one of my daughter's friends. And I don't know how I got on the topic. We were talking about what's normal. And, and my one daughter's like, well, I don't know that our family's normal. And we got in this we were kind of joking around, but we got in this whole thing. And it kind of landed where I'm like, everybody's got their shit. Everybody does. It's just, and if everyone threw their shit in a pile, you'd probably still pick up your own.
Yeah.
is probably where that
that's
would
great.
land. And they're like, really? I'm like, I promise you that, what you're seeing on your square isn't,
Yeah.
and it's just a funny conversation. 'Cause, you don't get the captive audience that long. I don't even know where it came from or why I went there, but it was funny. It's like, no one's normal.
Right.
No one is normal. I've sold too many houses and seen too many arguments.
Yeah.
You see
That too many
inside of too
people-
many houses. You know, no
Exactly.
one's
Yeah, I'm
normal.
like, I'm just telling you, no one's.
Well, yeah, and then like what's normal changes so
Right.
often. Like we've talked about so many like generational changes
Norms
in
and
our group,
expectations.
But like like my dysfunction has changed so many
Yeah.
times from like the house I grew up in to college and like trying to learn how to be an adult. Like it changes. What's normal changes, and
Right.
it's kind of just like what you're around. So can't take it too seriously.
No, you really can't.
Yeah.
You really can't.
That's a good. I do always try to tell myself it is not that serious. Like, I'll like
Right.
fully breaking down. I'm
Yeah.
like, girl, I'll pull it together. It is not that
It's
serious.
okay.
You're fine.
That's funny. That's almost more frustrating when you know that it's not a big deal,
You can't
but you
help it.
can't get it together anyway.
Yes.
It's like that makes me insane. I'm like, what is wrong with me? This does not going to matter in a day.
I feel like
and I can't get
usually
over
when
it.
that happens, it's like it has been building. Like that breakdown is not because
Yeah.
I spilled my coffee. I promise.
Yeah.
I'm not acting
It's
this way
something
because of
That can be a very devastating act in its own self, though. So
I'm so
understand.
sorry to bring it up. Like,
I wonder. I'm thinking about this in terms of like of real estate and like your day to day, and just when shit hits the fan. Like, could there be someone that's kind of like a if we have like a TC for the whole office to tap into if they need it. Like, could there be someone that's kind of like a rover? Like, if I'm having a really bad day and I'm
love that
melting, like,
name.
can you write this offer for me? And it's an hourly rate or
Yeah.
whatever. Billed to the office. Like,
love
you
that.
Yep.
used our person to drop a sign or whatever.
Yeah.
That might be a
Goes straight
good
on
like
your bill. That's a
built-in.
good
idea.
Yeah.
I like
I
Like
the
charge
name
me
Rover.
whatever. Yeah.
I like the name Rover. I bet we could even have people sign up for that are looking for Rover hours.
or
Yeah.
like the
You know what I mean?
newer
Yeah.
Newly
agents.
licensed,
Yeah.
trying to wrap their head around the different
practice.
tasks.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah. And then maybe if they write an offer or something, then it's like there's some sort of review.
Oh yeah.
Like coaching
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Like you got this like 90% right.
We're not gonna send it quite yet.
Yeah.
But
Thank you
good idea.
so much.
Thank you for doing 90% of the legwork, though. I appreciate it.
I mean,
yeah.
if I could just get somebody to like get I don't know if you guys use loops or rooms, but I use DocuSign. And if I could get someone to just get like the other stuff sent
Into the
filled
room.
out,
Mhm.
yeah, like I'll do my own contract, but it's like the property disclosure, everything when I'm like scrambling and like trying to get everything done, I'm like, I'm gonna forget something for sure.
No, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. That's not of course I'm kind of spoiled. So
Yeah, we have a cat.
we have our
Jeez.
Oh,
yeah,
And,
she
and
does.
Laura and Jordan bow down to
Yeah,
them
for
daily,
sure. Yeah. It's like oh,
kiss their
thank you.
feet. Yes.
For me.
Laura, I think, has probably saved everybody's, but more we owe that woman so
Yeah.
yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is. She does a great job.
she's a good one.
The de facto mom of all real estate.
And I think that's part of the reason why I think a very large part of the reason why the office is as
I feel like a lot of
friendly
us
as it
have
is.
like I have like loyalty to Laura.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I would be able to look her in the face and be like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'd be able to do it.
yeah, I get it. No, I totally get. She does an amazing job. She really does. Saves my bacon about every 35 minutes. Yeah, she's great. She is really great. It makes all the difference. It
With
really does.
like everybody here having young kids, do you ever fall into like a rut of like forgetting that you're maybe just like you're not doing as good as other people, but you are in a complete different like season, a different place than them? Because I feel like I like with the people who have like older kids or the kids that go to school all day, I'm like, "Ugh, they have all that time.
It's totally different.
But then I'm like, yeah, but they also had their time where they were chasing around a toddler. So like, I don't know. I have like a really hard time like enjoying where I'm at and not focusing on the future. And I don't want to be that way. Like, I want to be able to soak it all in, but it's hard when it feels like you're like trying to just stay afloat.
I went through that big time with my first. And I think in prepping for our second baby and how we were going to do it better, I decided to kind of wrap my head around what was like what the priorities were. So like right now in this stage of life, I'm a mom first.
Yeah.
Like if shit hits the fan and we don't have daycare, like I become that person, and we all know that, and my husband knows that, so that it doesn't affect his job. I mean, of course, we tag team where we can, but like that is my priority right now because there's only so much time where they're
Right.
small.
Right.
And so, I have a baby right now, and I'm trying to enjoy that. I think it's just maybe you said recently, like if you dedicate a certain amount of time, you can be very effective with that time. And so that's what I try to do. It's like if I get my 2 or 3 hours in, I'm satisfied with that. If the rest of my day is parenting and I had that dedicated time, that's good enough.
You still feel
for this
good
stage
about
of
it.
life.
They're the
Yeah.
number one. Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think at
that's
some
priority,
point the scale will tip the other way where more of that time is dedicated to personal endeavors, business, whatever. But right now, the primary focus and the biggest chunk of my time and my life and my energy goes to my family.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
But
I am that way. I just like have like a weird like
Guilt or
yeah, like I don't know how to explain it. I'm like trying to
It's
figure it all
the
out.
it's the highlight reel comparison too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that
Yeah.
that just really amplifies that because you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to sit on this couch right now and play with my kid, but
she does it
but
all.
she does
Right.
it all.
Right.
Yeah,
I
she's-
should be doing this.
Yeah, she's
That's
got
the,
it.
that's it. The
Yeah.
I should be in my head.
Right.
The constant like I shouldn't be sitting at the pool right now. I like should be doing this, and I'm like I need to knock that crap off.
That's a big deal, and it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do.
Well, and I think if you're kind of intentional about that and that's your plan, then you can swallow a lot easier the end of year like revenue.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that was hard for me too. I'm like, I didn't make as much as I did last year. And you
Right.
start to kind of spin because the goal is, but if this is like a 2-year period of time where I know that's what my focus is, then like I can swallow that a lot easier.
Yeah, and your dollar per hour probably went through the roof.
So
Yeah,
you're like
it's true.
looking. You just take a step back and look like big picture. Like,
Yeah, I think so.
This is a 2-year thing. Like I'm not even gonna worry about it.
I think so.
Okay.
just creating those individual expectations for you and what you feel comfortable with versus having that societal expectation put on you. But it's easier to say, obviously, than to do.
Well, and it's easy to say when you have a partner who can balance that with a W-2 or, expected income.
Yeah.
If you're both variable, like that can get really stressful.
Yeah.
You're right. So it's
Sure
different.
does.
It's different for everyone. I would love to be buying more properties, and like I think we've talked about this before. Like that's the benefit of this job is like if I need some cash, I can scrap and go out and make it.
Right.
That's what falls off.
Yeah.
The extras, like the things that maybe are goals that I'm gunning towards, and I just am a little bit slower. Definitely not a sprint.
Yeah,
Just
it is
crawling
not a
towards those
sprint.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like on your back. Like
Army crawling.
What's hard about our job too is that we don't have a traditional 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So we don't just clock in at 9 and then clock out. Like I'm very jealous of that lifestyle a little bit. Like I see, but like ours is like, oh, the baby's in bed. I can still work for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
I can still get things done. And so for me, the time constraints or the time like lack of limitations for the day can get out of hand. Therefore, I feel like I'm working all day long, which I'm really, in the grand scheme of things, probably only working like 5-6 hours. Like
Yeah.
if you really bunched it, but you're
Right.
kind of just doing these
Throughout the day.
you're doing these medial tasks throughout the day, and then you're like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I worked all day.
well, and then
But-
you also look at it. And you're like, I feel like I worked all day, and
Yeah.
what do I have to show for
Yeah.
it?
Exactly.
That's the worst.
But don't you think that goes hand in hand with motherhood? It's
yeah.
like we're always having all these balls in the air, and like we've talked about, like just the congested, like everybody's schedule, all the plans, and then it's also like I've got to get that contract out, and I've got to
Yeah.
check in with my TC. It's like
Right.
all of that is similar to what we're doing anyway. So like I just feel like I'm doing it all. I'm just going to be doing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because motherhood's not 9 to 5 either, right? So it's always just balls in the air.
Yep. Don't drop the glass ones and you're fine.
Yeah. And recently, I recently partnered with another agent, and we are this is part of why, because she's in a different stage of life than I am, and I can do more from like the 9 to 5, but between the hours of 5 to 8 or 9, I'm like,
MIA. Yeah.
So like showings after 5 or writing a contract is really tough. So we've kind of
a good idea.
restructured to
Yeah.
And if that means like in the interim, like less money at
Yeah.
the end of the year, but to like build this a little more like structured foundation that works for both of us, that will hopefully pay off down the road financially. That's kind of been, and I've been licensed for 9 years now. So that's within the last 6 months that we've kind of restructured that.
Makes sense.
Well, it's
So, like my
example
role
of-
has changed. Yeah.
It's an
as a
example of
realtor.
doing something for yourself too. Like you guys created that balance for each other.
Yeah.
So like,
We were still working on it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
it's like an endless
the-
relationship that you're constantly tweaking, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So that's been, but yeah, because it was like you're working every day,
Right.
with 3 little kids and
Yeah.
trying to get to bed. It's tough. Yeah.
Do you guys find that like most of your support is coming from like friends, family? Where do you feel like you're getting most of your like legwork with your kids?
Ours is definitely family.
Yeah.
We have both sets of parents are within 5 minutes from us, which is so like we are spoiled. We know that. Like
That's
if someone
awesome.
has to pop over for a little bit, like yesterday, needed help with one of the kids,
No biggie.
it's not a big deal for them to pop over. So, yeah, most of ours is family. We have a great next door neighbor. Her husband's in real estate, and she kind of gets it too. She'll text me like, "Hey, I see Jackson still in the pickup line. You want me to get him?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
I'm
great.
running late.
Yeah.
Like, she gets it.
That's
So,
awesome.
That is really sweet.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. It really does.
mine, I think right now is just my husband, like is my primary, and like we figure it out however we need to, but it's a lot of just hot potato and balancing schedules and stuff. But we travel a lot, and we're both pretty remote. So when we are on the move and we go visit his family who live in 2 different states and things like that, we have a lot of hands-on help. So it's almost funny, like travel stresses people out. I want to do it to have additional hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's mostly us right now, and that's probably by design. I mean, my parents are in town. It's like a 30-minute drive, so it's not super convenient. It's not 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But they're more than willing to help. It's just sometimes it's easier just to make it work between us than to take that hour out of the
Yeah.
day to go up and back. So yeah, we're just like kind of making it happen.
That makes a lot of sense. When my girls were little, we had I had an amazing woman that ran a daycare that would take them during the day. I could not have survived without Penny. There's no way. And because I didn't have a husband that did anything really, and so got rid of him. But then we also had our housekeeper. They call her Aunt Cherry because she was just there all the time. Yeah, all the time. Just taking care of the dogs, taking care of the kids.
Sherry's still there all the
Sherry's
time.
still there all the time. Yeah, and she's there at least one day a week.
I've
so.
thought about that. Like,
Life-changing.
If I could spend some time crunching the numbers, like, does it make sense to pay someone a salary to be like full time at your house, or like the au pair situation?
I've
Yeah.
looked into that.
It's like it seems
pretty
affordable
seriously.
to me. I think it's like 20,000 a year plus stipend and stuff. And I'm like, I mean, if I could sell X amount of houses
Right.
more with the hours,
Well,
is
you
that
also compare like the cost of just a traditional daycare Monday through Friday. I mean, it gets expensive.
It's crazy. It's like college.
Same.
It is.
Yeah.
It is like college. No, I think that's the what you give up is the privacy of your house.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, so you have to find the right fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I love being home. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a homebody. So, like, I love that space. It's kind of like,
This is my sanctuary.
This is my
Stay
safe
out.
space,
Yeah.
like, so that would be hard to have somebody there.
Well, I think it's similar to passing off some of your business. Like you have things that you do a certain way,
Right.
and to train someone is almost so much time, energy, and effort that
is.
you're like, I'll just keep doing it. It's like I don't think that the person would pick up the things I wanted them to do. Like I would be annoyed if they're doing the things I want to do. What I mean for you to do is this, and teaching someone that dynamic is really hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is.
I'm
and that's
already
a
in
long
one
game.
relationship.
Yeah, that is a long game. It's like when you do bring in either a partner or a colleague on your team that's going to be handling some of that. It's like you have to slow way the hell down at 1st. It's like
like backwards
Yeah,
before.
go slow to go fast, and it's frustrating at the time because you're like, oh my god, I'm paying for this. It's taking twice as long. This is ridiculous. And then and you don't get that payoff until like I mean, I think a lot of times it takes about a year before that person can put on, in my case, their cerebrain and
Get it done.
get it done. And but man, once you get there, it's amazing.
Worth it.
But the trough is brutal, which is why I think so many people are like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that. I tried that. It doesn't work. It's like, I get that, but
Gotta play the long game.
it's the long game on that thing for sure. For sure.
I know it's like one of those things where people like are gonna laugh, but like I feel like if I can just hold out until they literally just go to school, I'll be good. Like if I can just have the school day, like. But I also don't want to rush that. I want to like soak in.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like we felt like preschool was going to be some relief, and it's like it just adds more stress to
Preschool's
the
a-
day.
Isn't it only like a few
Preschool's like a mean
hours?
joke
So, yeah, it's like
because
two and a
it's so
half-
short.
2.5, 3 hours max, and like by the time you drop off, like you're doing one task, pick it back up, and there's so much involved. Like I still have to pack a lunch and send all this stuff, and it's like
A theme every day. Wear your baseball jersey today.
And God forbid
Water
you
day
you're
tomorrow.
gonna forget the theme. I'm gonna forget the theme. I just
Yeah,
know.
I did not. I never performed well in that. It was not good. Yeah, not good. I remember one day I brought cupcakes, like it was the only thing I'd done all year, and I forgot. I just didn't even think to not bring. And then she's like, "You can't bring cupcakes because so and so cannot eat." And I'm like, "Of course I don't know this because I'm the only mom in the room that doesn't know this because I'm the only one that doesn't know what's going on, and I'm the idiot." You know what I mean? It was just like, so my poor kid. She's like, "You didn't bring anything for my birthday." I'm like, "I tried. I got clotheslined in the hallway."
Yeah.
That was the end of that. But I just always something.
Yeah.
Always something.
Yeah. Speaking of like juggling, all of that, do you guys have are there any like similar stories, like mom fails that stand out to you or?
God, I feel like I've tried to not encode them because there's so many. Just
Yeah, I
constant.
mean, to that point, that just reminded me. So last August, we had our second on the 10th. Our son turned 3 on the 25th, and then started preschool the same week. And so it was just like
deal.
a wild kind of couple of weeks. And I still felt the need to have a birthday party for him because he was having this whole, shift in his life, and I wanted to make him feel special. So I hosted a birthday party at Graders with all the kids and all the family, and I had this little newborn, and I just felt insane. But when he started school, they gave the option to bring a treat, but it's like nut free, tree free.
Yeah.
Free nut.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No trees. No, so
Yeah.
I overthought it, and it was probably part of my like postpartum brain. Like I was just still very like foggy and just overthinking. And it's his first year at school, and I'm gonna get it down. I made 3 different things, and like the first thing was like one of those like health nut granola, and it was like mush, and then I threw it away. And by the end, I was crying, and Trey was just like, "What are you doing? Like throw a pack of fruit snacks with some stickers into a pack." And so I finally got something together, but it was funny because then that was the first week of school, and then they start rolling in for other people's birthdays, and they're literally like a granola bar or
Right,
whatever. And I was
right.
just like, oh my
In a
God.
little
That's so
bug bag.
Bubbles.
So
Just
embarrassing.
bubbles. Yeah.
Bubbles.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Like sobbing in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Trying to make this like healthy treat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm sure you saw on social media that
Yep.
you were
It was
like,
like,
you
It
gotta
only
make
takes
a
15
homemade.
minutes, 5 minutes,
Yeah.
hands on.
Yeah.
Like applesauce muffins.
Right, with the cutest little decorations and
Yeah.
that's so funny.
That is funny.
Mom fails?
I'm not saying
mine.
no because I don't have any. I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think.
I mean, I'm literally ashamed too. So
All 3
please,
of your
no
boys
one,
are healthy
like,
and happy.
They're
It's okay.
fine. They're fine. No judgment here. No, we had just had Benson, who's our third, and I was like running home to, from work and throw something in the crock pot or something. I don't know. And relieve our sitter for Benson, go pick up the other boys from daycare. And I was like on the phone with a client, literally walked out the door with him sleeping in his crib. And I was halfway to the daycare and I was like, oh my God,
I don't have the baby.
I don't have my son with me. He is at home sleeping peacefully in his crib.
Still asleep when you got
He
home?
was still asleep.
Thank goodness.
We have one of those monitors where I can like watch him on my phone.
Yeah.
So I'm like driving, I've got the phone up. I'm like, is he okay?
GPS is running.
Yeah. So that was like the one that like really stands out to me. We also, our neighbor, again, amazing. I'm like, I could call her if I had to be like, I forgot my son in his crib.
Yeah.
Can you
She's
put-
like, on the way.
can you pop, it's like
Pop in there.
20 feet from our front door. So yeah, I was like, that is the worst thing I've ever done.
I think, well, that's
It's okay, and they're all good.
Yeah.
He was
Mistakes
fine.
happen.
He was still
not
sleeping.
intentional.
The scariest thing that happened to me as a mom was, of course, I was on the phone with a client, and my kids were of the age where I had the double stroller. So I, again, tried not to encode this, but we were at the freaking zoo. And you know where the gorilla thing is? It's down in like that pit. And there's like a little line, like a little wire that's like 18 inches off the ground. And I'm talking to a client on the phone, and I turn around, and Cece is over the wire
That did happen.
looking into the gorilla
Oh,
thing.
Oh my God.
I about died. I'm like, and of course I, throw the phone, grab the kid, but I'm like in that feeling of like when you drive by a cop too fast and you get that
Yes.
tingle feeling
just
of
goes
I didn't
through
get
your
it. Yeah.
body.
We had to leave.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we had to leave the zoo immediately. Amelia's like, what? I'm like, get in the stroller.
yeah. We're done.
We're done.
Strapping you in extra
Yeah,
tight. like
exactly.
locking her in.
Yeah. That was awful. That was so bad. So bad.
I think okay, this might be an okay one. Not proud of it. I used to baby wear a lot because my baby went everywhere with me. It was one of my very first showings. I had her went in there after I'm on the phone, minding my business, driving home. I get home and I realize I never stopped baby wearing.
You strapped her in there, but she was
Strapped her
strapped.
on it. She was sleeping. I'm like,
I can
literally-
totally
oh my
see how that could happen.
Yeah.
oh my.
I can totally see how that can
God.
happen.
Luckily, it was like 2 street. Like it was not like no highways or anything. But I remember that
Yeah.
feeling where you just like,
Leave
Yeah.
your body.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
It's the worst. I can totally see how that could happen.
And then you're thinking like, I hope no one saw me like
Right. Yeah.
casually
Write your
driving
license
down
plate down. Yeah.
There's a mom
Right.
with a baby strapped
Very
to her
important
body.
to note that you need the person who you can call who's going to like crack up with you about
Yeah.
it and not judge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like that's always my sisters.
Yeah,
Like,
that's nice.
listen to what I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Like one thing comes to mind from when we had Wade, all the gear and stuff, you learn it as you go, right? And you don't always read the
Yeah, fine
instructions
print.
for every. So when Wade was young, we were like, God, he hates the car. He's screaming in the car all the time. It's so frustrating. Like, everyone talks about how you should drive around with your kids to get them to sleep, and like he's just screaming bloody murder. My sister pointed out one day that we had forgotten to take out the infant insert. And he was way past the weight. So he was just like back by the coat, like cutting off his circulation probably. And so he hated the car. And as soon as we took that little piece out, I felt terrible. I'm like, this has been like weeks.
Yeah, it's like tiny those shoes that they used to
Right.
wear in
Yes.
ancient
The binding.
China to make
Yeah, now that I think about it, he's still on the smaller side. What if we stunted his growth? Yeah.
That's funny.
I love it.
Yeah. I remember our first pediatrician's appointment with Jackson, our oldest. Didn't bring the diaper bag. Just showed up at the pediatrician with a newborn, didn't have the diaper bag, he's crying, screaming. I'm like, I gotta breastfeed him right now.
Yeah.
Didn't have a cover, nothing. I'm like, wow.
Okay.
In his diaper. Showed up.
funny.
Like, we're here.
In your defense, there's no way you should have to go to the pediatrician like 24 hours after being out of the hospital.
Ridiculous.
You are not sleeping. There's no
Probably not
attention
safe to drive.
span. There's nothing safe about it in general. Your brain is mush. So
It's funny.
the fact that you made it to your doctor's appointment is a win.
I mean, we were probably a little late
One in the W
That's
column.
okay. You made it. You made it to the building.
That's all
with
good.
the baby. So, yeah.
That's all good. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I've definitely had to put my kid in a swim diaper before in like double layer because I forgot diapers. So it's like I'm fishing through the back seat, like swim diaper, older brother shorts. That'll
Right.
do. Let's
Yeah. That's calling it's going to be a win.
We can make it another hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very
I
funny.
didn't know that like swim diapers didn't like work well. So that was maybe another fail on my end. I would like the first time ever I put it on her and we like get to the pool, there's just pee everywhere. And I was like, what the heck? And my mom was like, you have to put her in that when we get here. No one told me. Like, how was I supposed
Yeah.
to do that?
Or over top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is
You learn
funny.
as you go, I guess.
Yep.
You sure do.
That's and they're still alive.
Yeah.
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 That's all good.
I feel like I constantly fail like every day. So it's
Well, I think you're
It's a
doing
forced habit
really
now, but
great.
he's doing good.
See,
you
that's
know?
what you can put on your social media, Lucy, to make you appear more human.
I fail
daily
every
fail.
day.
One.
Lucy's mom fail Monday. That's all good.
Constant.
Mom
You-
Fail Monday would be
You
a
could-
really funny
That would
account.
actually be
would.
hilarious. You guys, that could be like a thing.
Yeah, what did my kid try to eat today? And
Yeah.
what did he actually succeed in eating?
Right.
Mulch.
Funny.
Yeah.
It's
I love
okay.
it.
So I think we've established that we need a rover at the office.
Yep,
and
for
maybe
sure.
one in our personal lives as well.
Yeah.
Shared.
Yep.
Shared river.
Yep.
I love the name Rover. We're gonna figure out an acronym and make that work.
Yeah.
I think that's like mastermind idea right there.
Absolutely.
Game changer.
That's a game changer. That phrase always cracks me up. Game
It's
changer.
the
for sure.
support we all need.
That's right.
Rover,
That's right.
whatever we're gonna call her.
All right. Well, very cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking the time today.
See you soon.